Okay, seventh grade, block one. If you took Tech 6 and you remember how to set your drawing up, that is great. I would strongly recommend that you look at, go to the sixth grade part of the website, watch block one multi, and that will explain to you how to set your drawing up if you don't remember. Just a quick reminder, you border all the way around. That's the heaviest line weight on your paper, so that's the darkest, thickest, heaviest line. The title blocks are 2 blocks tall, 13 wide, 13 wide, 13 wide. You put a construction line halfway up the first box and halfway up the second box. That's a line that you can just barely see. And then you letter in between those two construction lines. DMS goes on the left, the name of this drawing goes in the middle, and your name in the right as first initial period last name. 1/4 inch letters, all capitals, touching each construction line. Your ratio or your scale goes up in the top right hand corner, also 1/4 inch letters, all capitals. You can, and most, if not all of these drawings will just be ratio 1:1. You can get away with using a ratio when you have graph paper that shows the grid lines. Okay, if it doesn't, then you have to do a scale, such as scale 1/4 inch equals 1 inch, but we'll get into that later. Okay, and again, if you had Tech 6 with me, you're fine to start here. If you haven't, and some of this is confusing, you can use my website and watch some of the Tech 6 videos. That is the same process, just slower and with easier blocks. Okay, that's not required, but I do strongly recommend it if you haven't had industrial tech in sixth grade. Okay, let's get started. Starting point, we're not going to do the formula. We're just going to go over 8 from here, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to put a little dot there for my starting point. Okay? Starting point in multi-view, starting point equals the bottom left corner of your front view, and your front view is the most descriptive view, the view that shows the most detail about your object. It's not going to be this view, it's not going to be this view, it's not going to, definitely not going to be that view or that view. They don't really show anything. This is clearly the most descriptive view of the object, so that's going to be front view. Starting point equals bottom left corner of front view. Okay? In ratio 1:1, the first number is the object you're drafting, the second number is the graph paper. So ratio 1:1 means 1 real inch equals 1 graph paper square. Okay? So 5 inches equals 5 squares. 3.5 inches equals 3.5 squares. Alright? Starting point equals bottom left corner. Front view shows only width, and height. Okay? It doesn't show depth. So I'm going to start with width. Width goes on the x-axis. If I'm 5 inches wide, I'm going to be 5 graph paper squares wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? That line equals the bottom here. Then front view also shows height. Height goes on the y. So I'm 3.5 tall. So on the left side, I'm 3.5 tall. So I'm going to count up from right here. I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3.5. So that line equals the left side. I don't think I've mentioned this yet. These are object lines. They should be the second heaviest line on your paper behind the border lines. Okay. Now this 1 inch here is a width, so it's going to go back on the X. So from here, I'm over 1. and I don't want to, some kids will ask, like, how do I figure out what this angle is? You don't really need it. You just need to put that line in, this line in, and connect them. Okay, so I'm going to jump back down here, which will be equal down here, and I'm going to come up 1 inch, so 1 graph paper square, and then I'm just going to line my ruler up from there to there and connect them. Okay, so there's the front view. Above front view goes top view. That should be easy to remember. It's above, so it's the top view. Okay, top view and front view always have to line up, be the same width, and be evenly spaced from above the title blocks. Okay, so from here to here was 8 blocks. So from here, I'm going to go up 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And give myself sort of a new starting point. Okay, top view has to be the same width as front view. That was 5 wide. So I'm going to go 5 wide. I'm going to double check that lines up with front view. It has to. It's the same shape. So the front view and the top view have to be the same width because they are the same shape. Now, this is a 2x4 and it has rounded corners. That's unintentional. Okay, that's just how this looks, and I think it only really matters on this block. So we're just gonna imagine that is a straight line. Okay, ignore the curved part. That's far more advanced than we need to be right now. So all we want is the overall depth here, and then we'll come in and draw that line. All we want is the overall depth. Now this looks like it's getting smaller as it goes back. That is because you are seeing height, but you don't show height on top view. You just show width and depth. Okay? So my depth is 1.5. 1.5 is my depth. So I'm going to go 1.5 and 1.5 on both sides there. I'm going to connect the back side of it. Okay. And then all I need to show is this line, which is the same as this point. Okay. That, and that, they're the same, just from a different view. So for that reason, they have to line up. Okay. So I know it's 1 inch into that line, and I know it's right here on the front view. So I'm just going to take my ruler and do the cheat. Take my ruler, put it on that graph paper line, and where it comes across the top view of the object, I'm going to draw the line in. Okay, so there's my top view of that shape. Front view, top view. Okay, and then the only other view I show is right side view. Again, it looks like it's tapering back. That is because you are seeing the width, but you don't show width in side view. You only show height, overall height, and depth. And we already know both of those dimensions because we have our height from the front view, we have our depth from the top view. First of all, let's talk about where to put it. From the beginning over to front view, I was 8 units. So from here, I'm going to come over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units. Side view and top view, or I'm sorry, front view. Side view and front view share a common height. So my height on the front view was 3.5. So I'm going to be 1, 2, 3.5 tall on the side view. Okay, my depth, this dimension, my depth, I already know because I used it on top view, was 1.5. Side view and top view share a common depth. So from here I'm going to go 1.5. Okay, same thing up here. Draw in that line there. So side view, and then the only other thing I need to show is this line. Okay, I can look here to see that that line's 1 inch up, or I can just find it on the front view and bring it over. And I'm going to double check. I think this drawing is done. I'm going to take a good eraser if I have one and go through and clean up things that don't belong. Neatness does matter, and you are graded on that on these drawings. Let's talk through it again. Front view, top view, side view. Okay, evenly spaced, evenly spaced. These two views line up and share a common width. These two views line up and share a common height, and the features line up there and there. Okay, clean that drawing up, and there is block number 1.